let's talk about Grouper DataAI, a totally new way of gathering student data from multiple sources into a single place. So tell me if this describes you. You've got data about your students in a bunch of different places, like your math and ELA diagnostics, and a quiz you gave this week, and a survey you had your students do at the beginning of the year, and demographic data from your SIS, whatever. They all live in different places. You'd love to use that data to organize your students for small group learning and intervention. So what do? You either retype hundreds or even thousands of cells of data into a spreadsheet, not gonna happen, or you can go into all those different data sources and spend hours figuring out how to form your groups. That's where Grouper DataAI comes in. You can take files or even screenshots with student data from any source, drag it onto your class page, and all that data will be automatically added to your class on Grouper. Okay, first here's a super quick how-to. Find a file or make a screenshot of a table of student data. It could be any table with students in rows and data in columns. Drag it onto your class page, wait a minute for the AI to do its thing, then review it and accept. Now you can instantly make a grouping using any of those attributes, like this. Think you got it? Then log onto Grouper now and try it out yourself. But if you want more of a detailed how-to, keep watching. Okay, let's dive in. The first step is to find a spreadsheet or a table with student data. Make sure it's a table with students in rows and data in columns. If you already have an Excel or a CSV file or a PDF, great. If your data is in a table or report on some website or product that you use, you can either use the product's export tool and export it to a CSV file, or you can simply take a screenshot. In this case, I'm using a PDF with a breakdown of my students' results from their math diagnostic. I've got my students in rows, I've got my data in columns. Now, I might not want to import data from every column, and I don't care about all this stuff up here or down here, but I'm not going to do anything about that in the file because the import tool has some really neat ways of dealing with that. I'm also not going to worry about whether my students are shown differently in the file than they're shown on Grouper. They might be in a different order, or names are misspelled, or listed under a different name, or first names and last names are in 2 columns in the file and 1 on Grouper. I'm not sweating any of that because I know Grouper's AI is going to do a good job of matching up the names. Next, I open Grouper and navigate to the class I want to import the data into. Then I find a file on my computer and drag it onto the class page. The import starts immediately. It might take a minute or so to finish, and it's fine if I navigate away from the page to do other stuff in Grouper, but I'm just gonna have a moment of zen. Okay, the import is ready. It took a little less than a minute. These are the attributes that Grouper is saying I could import. I'm gonna keep everyone but this one because it's not so useful to me. Next, I'm gonna scan the names to make sure Grouper matched up everything right. Looks good. I see that Sarah's name was misspelled in the file, and here's Jacob, who's listed as Jake on Grouper. No problem there. Grouper matched them beautifully. But Grouper couldn't find a match for Jinsung. I know Jinsung goes by his middle name, Calvin. So I click the drop down next to Jinsung's name, find Calvin, and now they're matched. Now whenever I do an import that has the name Jinsung, Grouper will remember that Jinsung is Calvin and make the match. Okay, everything looks good, so I click accept, and here's all my new student data. All right, let's make a grouping. I click the Use in Grouping button, and here are all my new attributes. Today, I want to do intervention groups, and we've been working on number systems. So I click the Number Systems attribute, and I set this button to cluster, and I have beautiful same-level groups. That's Grouper DataAI. I've gone from having a file with student data to forming groups based on that data in just a couple minutes. And I even got in my moment of zen.